Hey everybody, Coupons here from Pull On 2. Here's your Phase 3 guide for Mythic Nexus King. I'm going to go over a quick positioning and kind of the overall mechanics and flow of P3, but we're going to talk about the Mythic changes first. Really easy here, spiky orbs don't despawn when they get hit by the beams like they do in Heroic. They instead will change direction when hit with those beams. So let's talk about the main mechanics in P3 and kind of the order in which they happen. It's the exact same every time. We place the spiky orbs on specific marker sets or rings, which I'll talk about in a second. Then we dodge the rings that spawn from those spiky orbs. And then we have to twice point the lasers at a set of spiky orbs to reverse their direction. We repeat that 3 times, and then we are dead or the boss is dead. So when I mentioned think of the room in rings, we kind of have an inner ring, a middle ring, and an outer ring. This is just kind of important to get your thought, your mindset in a place to where you're placing your orbs, because they revolve on these rings, right? We kind of think of these rings as where they're revolving around the room. So I'm just kind of helping you visualize that a little bit better. So let's talk about the orbs and their placement. The markers represent a spot to place the orbs, and there's no weak aura here to assign you where, like within that marker to stand, but where you should go, it will remind you. So the orbs are placed in threes. We get 3 melee targeted and 3 range targeted at the same time. Ranged is going to star, melee is going to X. And again, there's no weak aura to tell you like left, right, middle here, but it will tell you to go to star or X. There's tons of time here, so when you get targeted and the weak aura tells you to go there, just get to your marker, have one person be the anchor. Whoever gets there first, just get to the marker, and then the other 2 people adjust and go left and right. The placement of these is pretty critical. You don't want to have them overlapping. You actually do want to have a slight gap in between them just to give a little bit of leeway, because again, if any of them touch, they wipe the raid. So again, range is going to be on that outer ring here, and melee is going to be on that inner ring for the first set. The weak aura to tell you what marker you're going to kind of looks like this. And then here's my sad attempt at animating in PowerPoint the rotation of these circles or these bombs as they go around the room. And I'm not going to animate this every single time, and I'm not going to animate the rings that pop out of these that we have to dodge, but I just wanted to show the placements here. The second set of orbs are going to come out. Again, ranged is going to be placing theirs on the outer ring, and then melee is going to go on the middle ring. And again, no weak aura here. When you get there, let one person be the anchor, let the other 2 adjust and place theirs properly. And then on the third set here, ranged is going to be all the way on the outer ring again, but this time on skull. And melee is going to be on the middle ring again, but this time on triangle. And eventually we have this many orbs in the room. These don't happen all in succession. Remember, there's the whole cycle of things that happen in between these orbs, but I just wanted to get all of the orb placements out of the way. Notice how there's only one set on X. That is the set that ring that's on X is going to be the set that we're hitting with our lasers throughout the fight. But before we talk about the lasers, let's talk about dodging the rings. It really is kind of use your eyeballs, but there is some guidelines here. These movements are kind of soft assignments. If you feel comfortable with dodging at a slightly earlier cycle or a slightly later cycle, please go for it. The rings are exactly the same every fight because we're placing the things in the exact same spot at the exact same time for every fight. So whatever you end up feeling comfortable with. But the best recommendation here for each set, so the first bombs that we put down, you want to dodge into the center of the platform after the 3rd pulse of the ring. And the second and third rings, you're going to be dodging into kind of a tiny safe spot after the 3rd or 4th ring. And then after that, you dodge into the center. And again, you're going to have to continue dodging when you're in the center to continue being safe. Again, this is just keep your eyeballs open, be heads up, and just be safe. Don't try to milk any damage or casts here. All right, let's talk about the last portion of last mechanic that we have to focus on in P3, which are the beams. The Northern Sky Week Warrior that we're using will assign a left or right here, and the tank will always get the middle. And again, so we are always going to be targeting the most inner ring of bombs here. It should always only be the three that are revolving on the ring that's on X. And those are the three that we're going to hit. The weak aura prefers from left to right, melee, and then ranged, and then healers. So as a general rule of thumb, you are more likely to be assigned the left orb with your beam if you're a melee. And the alternative, if you're a ranged or a healer, you're more likely to be assigned the right orb. And when I say left or right, that's relative to us standing in the center of the room looking out towards these orbs. The tank will always get the middle orb, so you never have to worry about that. And the weak aura kind of looks like this. Here's an example of someone being assigned to the right orb. And then there's someone being not targeted at all by a beam, so you will not be told where to go. And you generally want to avoid the lines because they do a lot of damage. So please, if you're targeted with a beam, do your best to avoid the other people with the beam. And if you don't get targeted at all, please be well away from other people's beams because it will do a lot of damage. Again, the orbs are moving and rotating around the room at this point, so you do have to get there and then follow your orb until the cast goes off. And then for movement here, this is kind of what it looks like. 3 little shades appear behind the boss, and they target 3 players at random. And again, this is kind of what it looks like with a video clip. This person gets targeted with the right one. They find their bomb, and then they walk with it. And they rotate direction. That's it. That's P3. After that, we are done with our salad bar, and we get to go on to the main course. See y'all later.